again. Phrankleen, welcome on stage. You have the floor.
I think all of this is deeply rooted in the culture that emanates from our society back home. And another thing, before I forget, critical thinking is missing in our society, which is a fundamental problem. That lack of critical thinking in a lot of our people is connected to a lot of topics, not just this one, because why? It's a society where most people, and I say most people are conditioned. This is the way it's done. You do as you're told. So if you dare to challenge their thought process or their reasoning or suggestions, you're labeled as rebellious or Montanier. Now, all of those things, even parents are at the forefront of this toxicity. And a lot of these females, they grow up into life, because I have seen it myself. Some are very lucky, but I can assure you, it's a handful of, I heard some ladies say, oh, my dad did this. It's so beautiful to hear that. Oh, my dad encouraged me. My dad said this. There's so many people, even in my own family and stuff, get your degrees and all these things. It's even like a pastime, normal thing for people to say. You see a woman graduate, a young lady in her early 20s and stuff. She has a degree, and maybe she's just trying to get into the field, find her feet in the society. And the next thing, aunties, uncles, everybody's got an opinion. So when are you getting married? So where's your husband? Oh, is that your boyfriend? So you people should bring wedding date too. They'll tell you they're joking, because it's the toxic mental conditioning. And when they then get into those marriages, and unfortunately, the flip side to that as well is the same society that conditions women or force them into that pathway also has given a sort of how do I say, entitlement mentality, having deeply ingrained that into us men. So most men believe that's why a lot of men commodify women. You are a product of your environment. You grow up in a home, you see the way your dad treats your mom as his property. You hear things in like a Nigerian environment. Yawo meaning property, meaning my wife is my property. They commodify. So even when some men don't exactly use those words, it's like there's a template in their brains. It's deeply engraved in there. You get into the house, you're a baby making a popping machine. The kitchen is your favorite part of the home. You get in there. So when a woman then wants to do you, like a woman said earlier, who are you? Discovering yourself. You then start to develop your interest after our society frowns upon that. That's why you will see the likes of Linda Ikeji or any other successful. I don't know them in person, aside any other topics. But those women, like Linda Ikeji, they're successful. She's wealthy. She's at the top. She's doing well. She will blow tons of men out of the waters. But the reason, when I look at comments online, the resentment, jealousy and stuff, because it's seen as abnormal. Because she needs to be dominated by a man, and those wealth, in fact, possibly transferred to a man, so the man can feel good about his ego. Because why? It's societal conditioning. Now let me move on to women abandoning the careers and all that stuff, especially from the diaspora point of view. Recently, a woman, one of the people that viewed me on my YouTube channel, she basically sent me an email similar to the topic you guys have got here today. And she's in pain and agony. She said, Phrankleen, when I was in Nigeria, I was selling dry foods, like prawns, was it crayfish, and she was quite entrepreneurial lady from the lengthy email. She would get it from one part of the country, maybe from like Edo State, Irua, them parts, bring it down to like Oyo State, sell it, repackage it. The long and short was, check this out. The lady was earning, she was seeing from that medium scale business 2-3 million naira profit per month. Did you hear what I said? 2-3 million. She even said, at some point, she sat her husband down and said, dude, leave this whatever civil servant job. Let's join hands. Let's blow this thing up. Now, eventually, to cut the long story short, dude turns around and says, let's go to the UK, blah, 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 blah. She cried. She fought back. She said, Phrankleen, I didn't want to travel to the UK. I told my husband, I begged him. I said, dude, let's grow our finances here in Nigeria. Before you know, within a couple of years and still we have a lot of money, we can go on holiday to any part of the world. The long and short was, her parents were at the forefront of the mental conditioning that favored the man. The dad basically said, you do as you're told by your husband. If you don't listen to your husband, consider yourself removed from this family tree. The woman was crushed. She caved in. At that time, they had one child. Yeah? She didn't want to come to the UK. Husband put some package together. They came here to the UK and all that. Now, the cultural shock, the shift in paradigm. It's an environment they're not used to. They've landed here. All the things that the husband was making mouth about, when we get to the UK, blah, 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 what happened? Of course, they got the shock of their lives. Things didn't go in the direction. He was forced to take up a security job with some security company, blah, 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 blah. And now the excuse is, I think she couldn't blend in easily to get a job and all that. So she's forced to be at home now with the child. And what ran concurrently with all of that is sexual satisfaction, because we're humans, right? Within the 2 shakes of a dog still, husband knocks her up. Before she knows it, before she could understand the process, boom, a second child lands within the confines of England. She's got 2 children now. The long and short is, the woman's life is destabilized in the sense that she can't. I don't know much into what their immigration, status is and all that. I wouldn't ask that question, but the pain and agony that was demonstrated in that email, because she feels trapped. She's got children. She's broke, and dude is now weaponize that. And anytime she tries to speak to the people back home, her parents, they'll ask her, keep quiet, you're in England, stay over there, you're ungrateful, do you know how many people want to travel abroad, blah, 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 blah. And speaking of resentment, you can imagine the heightened resentment. You want to do something with your life. Imagine you were just 6 hours flight away. Not too long ago, you were making close to 3 million naira a month, doing very well. You gave all that up. You came to another part of the world. You became broke and flattened. That's just an example. There are numerous other stories. So what I'm saying is, if we have a society right from our formative years that they put so much pressure into conditioning us, you must do it this way, particularly the females. You don't ask questions. They deprive you of the ability to grow, develop critical thinking, which is something that's very big in the West. Little children, they're allowed to challenge your thought process. They will ask a police officer, why are you doing this? You're not allowed to do that. Women, particularly in Africa, they will shout you down. They will tell you it's because why? There's also religiosity that's involved in all of these things. So whilst you try to turn here, you run to a so-called pastor, your aunties, everybody's against you. Even the strongest of people mentally, it gets to a point you cave in. It's a mental touch-up. I think the tide that we are seeing, the development that we are seeing is now this generation, people are getting emancipated now mentally. They're seeing things differently. That's why you can hear the submission, particularly of a lot of the female. People are like, I can't let go of this and this. Because again, we learn a lot from a lot of toxic stories. There's so many traps in this. And when I tend to just follow the line and trace it back, it's this societal conditioning from where a lot of us emanated from. And then you're trying now to adjust to the culture of the West or the environment. You now want to get a guy, a man that's already fully grown, yeah? There's an element of patriarchy in there, who already sees you as a commodity. You're not in the UK, so you're not trying to tell him that, dude, so tomorrow I'll get you to, you have to find a way to take the kids to school. That's why some men, and it's ridiculous, will challenge it. They feel like you're violating them. It's not violation. It's a joint procreation of these wonderful children, a bundle of joy, whatever you want to call them. So you should be able to work around it. But some of these people, they will say no. They wouldn't want to. Some women are trapped at home. Their men don't even take them out. He goes out starting from Thursday, Fridays at the local beer parlor, hanging out with the boys, drinking, having pepper soup, moving around, the West and doing whatever the favors him. The women are at home. And that's where resentment, tears, they're broken. They haven't got source of income. Imagine, a lady once sent me an email, said, every time I ask my husband for a bit of money to buy toiletries and stuff, that's when he opens a chapter of 2-3 hours of ranting, telling me I've made nothing of my life. He said, but I regret the mistakes I've made, because why? She's reliant on him. She can't. And some people were saying, oh, yeah, you can work from home and all that. Somebody made a very powerful point. Trust me, man. It's a very tough system here in the West. The moment there is a break of 1-2 years, and no disrespect, we all have different level of academical background. Some people are fantastic. You might have been blessed. You're educated. You can pick up a couple of professional qualifications, dust yourself. Everybody is an academic. Some people struggle, not because they are less of a human being, but this is life. And these are what people are dealing with. You might be able to get the Prince 2 business analysis training, bang, 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 accountancy training, ACCA, jump back into the market, learn the UI, UX, whatever. Some people can't. Doesn't make them less of a woman or women, but it's just they're not as academic as you. Some people are good with buying and selling. They don't have the capital. So I think one of the remedies for me is sit down very carefully before you probably step your toes into a marriage. Like a woman rightly said earlier, listen to that lady that passionately said she's a career-driven person. Herself and her husband left a few years, before they had children or something. Again, lack of critical thinking is why people say, the Bible says in the book of Matthew chapter, you're setting yourself up for destruction. You should already know from my tone, I'm not a religious person. I'm not even a Christian. Don't do that to yourself, man. My Lord shall supply all my needs according to his riches in glory. You're joking, especially here in the West. And then crying later on and running to the front row of Mountain of Fire and gnashing your teeth without makeup. It's just a wasted venture. Before you dip your toes into water, sit down and have critical conversation with the man that you want to build life and hopefully spend the rest of your life with. Now, the moment somebody becomes evasive or they feel uncomfortable because you're discussing, okay, so if we have the children, if we have a first child now, what are we going to do? If I take a break, what is the cash flow? What are you going to cater to? How is this going to impact me? Are you going to stay at home? Are you going to be able to work from home with your laptop? If the man is evasive, or you can see that he's not amalgamating his thought process with you, I'll say jump. Because the problem is, we don't have these conversations. You don't critically look at the persons you are joining your emotions with. It's usually after the fact. Then we start getting involved in this emotional roller coaster. He's done this. Men has come. All of them things, man. If you see the handwriting on the wall, a lady told me that a couple of years ago that this guy, she loved him. One day they were at the restaurant. Just after their meal, they were joking. And she's like, Femi, so if we are going to have children and stuff, let's say I have to go to work or something, would you be happy to take these children to school? And the guy said, like, yeah. This is somebody that he articulated himself nicely, an educated guy, good looking. He just went like, yeah. Sorry if you don't understand Yoruba. Basically, he lashed out just in that moment. And the lady said, right there, she saw the giant red flag. Now, some women will see that. And then, this is one of the worst things. You lie to yourself. Maybe you're blinded by materialism. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't know. You lie to yourself that you can, don't worry, I'll change it. Whoa, slippery slope. Think about it. I think these are the conversations, and I want to thank everybody, man and woman, that have contributed, extensively to this session. It's a fantastic one. I've learned so much. My jota is full here, man, because I picked so many things. These lack of critical thinking. So people don't even know that, okay, I've got to check this out. I've got to engage this person's thought process. I've got to ask them this. I've got to see what they are working with. If somebody is evasive and they're dodging you out, they're not even interested in planning. Finance is another thing. Okay, dude, if you pop me pregnant now and we're going to bring a child into existence, how do we cope around this. I don't know. You sort it out. You're not the woman. That's not a conversation. Dude is already telling you right there and there that should you get pregnant, you're going to have to drag about 90% of the responsibility in terms of taking care of that child. That's a red flag. Anyway, that's me done. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity, Tony. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Phrankleen. You said a lot, but they were absolutely valuable, insightful, vibrant points that you made around that topic there. And thank you so much. Thank you for bringing so much insights there. But I want to focus on one thing that you kept reiterating there, which I think is one of the things we would say as been at the base of our problem, which is the social conditioning. And this